James, a very busy year for you with the women's under-17s. How do you feel now that it's coming to an end?
Yeah, really busy year. Obviously two squads. We had the previous squad at the early part of the year and a new squad now at the moment. Probably the finish of the previous squad, it was probably a bit of a disappointment in March in that we were first seeds going into the tournaments and it was in Tala and so on. And, with a really, really good squad. And, we finished third in the group, which was a disappointment, but it was a tough group. Sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it doesn't. But I think it was a really good learning curve for both players and staff as well. And hopefully now we'll introduce that this year. We're now first seed again going into March again with this group. So, please God, we've learned lessons last year, and hopefully we have a few breaks as well. I think we were a bit unlucky in March in terms of we created a lot of chances, but maybe didn't take them. And with a couple of COVID cases even going into the camp as well, which just hurt our prep a little bit. So hopefully. We get the rub of the green this year now, and really good squad again. So really looking forward to it.
Ultimately, the goal is to qualify for tournaments and to build that winning habit. But as you say, there is a lot of learning in losses, especially one of that size. At home, you were the top seeds, as you say. So in the long run, this could really go for the girls.
Yeah, it's probably gas as well. Looking at that group, I think maybe 12, 13, 14 of them actually have played for Dave Connell's under-19s this year, which that's probably the best scenario we could have had, players moving on to that level, and obviously Abby Larkin was in the Vera squad that qualified for the World Cup, so there's a lot of positives to take from it as well, and ultimately us going to a tournament or wherever is fabulous, but in the long run it's players going on and playing for the 19s and seniors is really what your job is at 17s, and that has been a big success this year, we'll say.
With the second group of players that you've had this year, starting again, they got through the first round of qualifying. How was that experience overall?
Yeah, it was in Northern Ireland, and it was a really tough group, with Austria, Finland, and Northern Ireland. And going into it, we were third seeds going into it, so it was always going to be difficult. And we were really disappointed after the first game. We lost to Austria, 1-0, and it was a really tight game. But we felt we created enough to maybe get something out of the game. And when you lose the first one, it's difficult then to get back into it. But look, we went on and bet Finland 3-2, and I thought we'd done very well in that game. And then the last game we played Northern Ireland, which is always going to be difficult, and a derby and all that. It was a really tight game, and we felt maybe we could have scored more, but we came out, we won 1-0, and it hasn't worked out. Finland had bet Austria 1-0, and we ended up topping the group, which was fantastic, and it just gives us a good opportunity now because we avoid some of the the superpowers of the women's game. Spain, England, Germany are all first seeds as well. So we have the draw next week now, and really looking forward to that. And seeing what we'll have in March next year.
One of the terms that was used to describe those three games in Northern Ireland from your team was they showed a lot of character. That must be quite pleasing to hear as a coach, because while we kind of associate character as a very Irish trait, this has to be developed, especially when they're only new to international football.
Yeah. Look, and I suppose we do an awful lot off the pitch as well, and even things like game management, which I think was really good in the second and third game where it was really, really tight. And that was a learning curve from our game against Finland previously, because in March we were 1-0 up against Finland in the 92nd minute and lost 2-1. So we've learned an awful lot from that game, and you could even see that in the Finland game this year, where we were 3-2 up, in the closing minutes. We really closed the game out well, and the same against Northern Ireland. So that's learning, and I think there was maybe 7 of the players were with us previously, in the previous campaign, so they all know that really well now, and it's brilliant to see, and yeah, look, character is massive, your work rate, your work ethic, and then obviously bringing the skill levels they have, and everything that they're implementing in their clubs and all that comes into us, and hopefully you're able to kind of put the cherry on top and get good results and so on. And it's very, very pleasing. Even in Northern Ireland, what was really, really pleasing as well is the feedback from the hotel staff and all that as well. They were just saying the girls are so well behaved, around the place and so mannerly and all that. And that's very pleasing as well. Because it's great getting results on pitch, but we are developing people as well, which is really important.
Can you speak a bit about that? Because you see it sometimes. The New Zealand rugby team, the Japan national team in the recent Men's World Cup, clean the dressing room afterwards, and so those are, as you say, it shows you much more of the human side of things. It's something you kind of take for granted because footballers can want for nothing at times. Everything is taken care of. But when they appreciate their surroundings and interact with the staff and recognise all of that kind of stuff, that is important as much as the training on the pitch, isn't it, in terms of building their character and the resilience and being self-aware, I suppose.
Yeah, look, it's the first thing we do when we come in. Like we sit down with the players in a room and we put up a few flip charts and we say, well, what do we expect on the pitch, off the pitch? You know, how should you conduct yourselves and so on? You know, and the players really come up with it, like, you know, and like, look, you know, coming through the age groups now with Tom and even back to Richard Berkeley with the under 15 schools, like, you know, there's a really good, you know, application in terms of the players and how they conduct themselves and all that, like, and it makes it very easy, like, but it is one of the most pleasing things, like, you know, where we, you know, we leave a good impression, like, because I think that's really, really important, like, and I think it's life skills as well that hopefully will stay with the girls throughout their career, like, you know.
It's really encouraging to hear that, isn't it? Because when people mention Irish people, you want them to kind of think in a positive connection, and when that is, as you say, if they leave the hotel, that they're saying how, you know, they held the door open, they were mannerly, they were organised, and they left the place in a good state. So those sort of things, you don't have to worry about those sort of things. You can just focus on the football if the players are maintaining it to themselves.
Yeah, look, we have a leadership group, and obviously Jodie Lockree's the captain. You know, Aoife Kelly, Joy Ralph, Heidi Mackin, all players that would have played with us previously. So it's just feeding on year, like, and like, they really hold themselves accountable as well, like, you know, in terms of how they behave and all that, like, so it's it looks after itself really, like, and it's very, very pleasing, and as I said, like, you know, hopefully it's things they'll take away from that, you know, be it whatever they do in their life as a player, but as a person as well. And you know, it's really pleasing as well, you know, a lot of players thinking about their education as well, and you know, where they're going to go next and so on, like, you know, so we have them discussions with them as well, like, so you know, that we're always open to that, like, with parents and all that, because education at the end of the day is still number one, and everything else, like, you know, is a bonus as such, you know.
On the football, when you know where you're going next year in 2023, how exciting is it to take on a challenge like that, knowing that if you top that group that you're going to a finals tournament?
Yeah, like, look, you know, it'd be a massive one, and you know, for us as staff and players, like, probably don't talk too much about it, like, you know, let's look at the next games. Obviously we're playing Switzerland in February, and on from that then we look at, but like, the reality is, like, you know, next Wednesday is the draw, and I'd say by Thursday morning there'll be a few games in the huddle, like, page for the 17s, like, you know, of our opposition teams, like, and very quickly we'll be looking to see what they're about and how they play and so on, and start thinking about game plans to play against them. And yeah, it's really, really exciting, like, and you know, players, you know, it would be a fantastic thing to play at Euros, and you know, we always talk about even the under 17s that qualify for the World Cup, like, and you see a lot of them players are actually going to the World Cup with the seniors next year, like, so that tournament was really setting the steps in place for that senior qualification, like, so I suppose it's not an absolute essential to qualify for this or win games and all that. It does help, like, and it ultimately will help with the seniors as well. And I think we're at a stage now where we've qualified for the World Cup and everyone is buzzing about it. You know, and it's brilliant for Vera and all the players going, but we want to now not end up like 10 years time talking about that. We want to be qualifying for the next Euros, for the next World Cup and all that. And let's make us like have a legacy, basically, that, you know, that this World Cup is like Euro 88 and Italia 90, and you know, that it continues on for a number of years to come, like.